I'm at a remarkable building here in the city of Savannah. I'm at the EOA. Oh no, I'm at the Cuyler Street School, also known to many of you as Cuyler Junior High School. This great place right here. This is the first modern building built for the education of African children in the city of Savannah, 1913. The first principal, his name was John W. Hubert. Wait, Jamal? Hubert Middle School? Yes, Hubert Middle School or Hubert Junior High School was named for him. He's the first principal of this school right here. And in fact, John Hubert came from a family of educators here in the state of Georgia. They came from the Springfield community in Hancock County. Not Springfield, Georgia, Springfield community in Hancock County. Some of y'all probably realize the name Hubert. The third president of Savannah State University is Benjamin Hubert. Yes, that's his brother. They understood about having education, but also understanding and having knowledge of the land. So John W. Hubert will guide young people here at Cuyler Junior High School or the Cuyler Street School. Great man. And in fact, another great man would meet here with a great woman. Her name is Ella Baker. His name is Dr. Ralph Mark Gilbert. Students who were involved in the civil rights movement in Savannah prior to the 60s and the 50s were right here, and Ella Baker met the students here at the Cuyler Street School. Ooh, wait, I know some of y'all are saying, Jamal, it's not just the Cuyler Street School. It also was known as Beach Cuyler School. Yes, AEB Beach High School was once housed right here in this very building. And give you some information. At one time in the state of Georgia, there were only 3 public high schools in the entire state of Georgia to educate African children. 3 public high schools in the entire state of Georgia. The first one was Ware High School in Augusta, Georgia. And the first principal of Ware High School, his name was Major Richard R. Wright. Yes, the first president of Savannah State University. Another high school was in Macon, Georgia. That was Ballard-Hudson High School. Ware High School no longer exists because they got rid of it in Augusta. Ballard-Hudson was reduced down to an elementary school, and I think back to a middle school today. The only one of those schools that's still educating back from the 1800s, that's still a high school, still educating, is Beach High School. Mad props and mad respect to Beach High School. Yes, those Bulldogs go back in time. Now, to let you know this, in Atlanta, they had no public high schools for black folks in Atlanta. That's why folks in Atlanta had to go to AU, that's Atlanta University, to normal schools there, or Clark. They had to go to the normal schools in that surrounding area. Or they had to come down here to Savannah. Or they had to go to Augusta or go to Macon until those schools were closed. In Atlanta, you would not get a high school until 1924. And part of that is tied to a man from Hilton Head Island, South Carolina, by the name of Reverend Richard Singleton, who also pastored a church here on MLK Jr. Boulevard, St. Philip's AME Church. He would then go to Atlanta and help force that to occur. 1924, Booker T. Washington High School. Beach has been educated since 1867. And in fact, Beach is, the Beach Institute on Harris and Price Streets. That is the first building built for education of African children in the state of Georgia. Some signs say in Savannah, no. We let people understand 1867, that's the first one in the entire state of Georgia. So yes, the Beach Institute, right there. Oh, excuse me. Some of y'all are gonna say, Jamal, no, we know it's the Harris Street School. It was an elementary school also. Also tied to the origins of Savannah Tech, just to throw that out there to you. So that building right there on Price and Harris Street, significant. And it's tied to AEB Beach High School. But in Savannah, Georgia, what was interesting, on January 3rd, 1865, African people in Savannah started their own school system. I repeat, they started their own school system, paid for their own superintendent, their own principals, their own teachers, and secured their own buildings. They secured their own buildings. And some of the buildings that they secured, our ancestors had formerly served as marts. They were Negro marts, where they had sold human beings in. And so in Savannah, Georgia, our ancestors created a school system where they taught the children during the day and taught the adults at night. And in fact, writers came down here and they said that the majority of the schools in Savannah during Reconstruction and right after and during the Civil War were operated by the Africans. I'm going to repeat that. The majority of schools in the city of Savannah during Reconstruction was operated by the Africans. In fact, Northern writers came down here. They said that when they walked inside the classrooms, you could see the change. You could see the chains and the shackles on the walls in the classroom that the children were being taught in. It was a message being sent to those young people when they're being educated, being told that we will never return back to that. You will get your education. And when Northern teachers came down here, they said to our ancestors, they said, why aren't you all sending your children to us to teach them? Our ancestors said, your standards for our children are here. Our standards for our children are here. Here go people coming out of captivity expecting more from their children than what many of us expect today. We are betraying their legacy right now where we have no concern about the educational system here in Savannah, Chatham County. And there's a photograph from the 1800s that's a telling photograph and one that's always been etched in my mind. There's an African man, an elderly African man. He has about 3 or 4 African boys right around him. He's sitting like on a high chair, like on a stool, and they're sitting outside what was called the classroom. Excuse me, the school building. The school building literally went from this door to that door right, to the end of the door right here. And then it was just squared off. So here go African people being even educated in what we said was a closet. That shows you the drive that they have for education. See, it's a betrayal when we don't go and support our children and support our educational system properly. Because here in Savannah, Georgia, African people understood the importance of education, starting their own school system. And they were only forced to compromise with the AMA for the Beach Institute. Because what they decided to do, they saw that the Africans wanted to excel with regards to their children in education, and some people wanted to keep them down. So they stopped supporting the fund. They did not give any more funding to the SEA. So they forced them to not go over and compromise with the Beach Institute. And so later on, the teachers at the SEA were now told to just become teacher aides. Again, teachers aides, that's all. Because some people want to control the education of African children so that they didn't get the proper education. Yes, Beach High School is a part of the standard of us and our legacy of greatness. It's the pinnacle. Cuyler Junior High School, Cuyler School was the pinnacle of education for us in Savannah, Georgia. Here you have someone who also become so great that she would start a sorority. Her name is Fannie Petty Watts, Zeta Phi Beta sorority. One of the alums of Cuyler Street School will later become one of the founders of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated. That was our legacy right here. Ella Baker right here, the mother of the Civil Rights Movement, had been exposed to young people in Savannah, Georgia, right here at this school. Yeah, that's us. That's our story. We need to wear our story. We need to wear it proudly. We need to know our story and to share it with other people. Do not diminish our schools. Saul C. Johnson High School, Woodsville Tompkins High School, AEB High School. In fact, Saul C. Johnson, as I share, folks, was the one who signed over the deeds of the Beach Institute to the Board of Education. And that's why we later have Saul C. Johnson High School. Great man, great place. We sing Cuyler's alma mater, this great institution right here, for those of you who know it. Sing the song, because Cuyler is the pinnacle. Education in Savannah, the pinnacle. Everyone wrote about our history. From Linda Brent, who you know as Harriet Jacobs, she wrote about Savannah. She wrote about how the Africans in Savannah excelled in education right here, right after the Civil War during Reconstruction. Let's return back to our greatness.